How many nights have you asked, Ya Allah, when will my turn come? How many times have you watched others find love while you quietly wondered if anyone would ever pray to have you in their life? But what if somewhere tonight, another lonely heart is asking Allah the same question and praying for the kind of spouse you are slowly becoming? Before you lose hope, listen carefully to these 5 signs. La? Someone may be calling on Allah for a spouse like you at 3 a.m. There are moments in the night when everything becomes quiet, when the noise of the world disappears and a person is left alone with Allah. Around 3 a.m., someone may be awake making Tahajjud, raising their hands and asking Allah for a righteous spouse. They may not know your name, your face, or where you are, but they may be asking for the kind of heart, character, patience, loyalty, and faith that Allah is slowly building inside you. Think about that for a moment. While you are wondering when marriage will happen, another person may also be waiting, praying, healing, and asking Allah to bring the right person into their life. This does not mean we should claim to know the unseen, because only Allah knows who is written for whom. But it reminds us that your future can be forming in ways you cannot see yet. Instead of feeling forgotten, keep becoming the kind of person you would also pray to meet. Allah hears every sincere dua, and He knows exactly when 2 lives are ready to cross. 2. Allah starts preparing your heart before you ever meet them. Sometimes the first sign is not meeting someone new. It is noticing that something inside you is changing. Allah may begin preparing your heart long before the right person enters your life. You may suddenly lose interest in unhealthy attention, confusing relationships, or people who never gave you peace. Your standards become clearer, your patience becomes stronger, and you stop wanting love simply because you feel lonely. You begin asking Allah for someone who will respect you, protect your heart, strengthen your faith, and build a peaceful life with you. This inner change matters because marriage is not only about finding the right person, it is also about becoming ready to treat that person correctly. Perhaps the person praying for a spouse like you is also being changed somewhere else right now. Allah may be teaching both of you patience, maturity, forgiveness, and responsibility before your paths ever cross. You cannot see that preparation, but you can see what Allah is changing inside your own heart. When your heart starts choosing peace over attention and faith over temporary feelings, do not ignore that growth. Thirdly, the wrong people begin leaving before the right one arrives. The wrong people predestined pan. Sometimes Allah prepares you for the right relationship by first allowing the wrong ones to leave. A person you were deeply attached to may suddenly become distant. A connection you thought would last may end. Or someone you desperately wanted may no longer fit the peace you are beginning to protect. At first, this can feel painful and confusing. You may ask why Allah allowed you to care so much if that person was not meant to stay. But not every person who enters your life is meant to become your spouse. Some people reveal what you need to heal, what you should never accept again, and what kind of love cannot give your heart peace. Their departure can create space for growth. While you are learning to release what was unhealthy, someone else may also be leaving behind what was wrong for them. You may both be becoming free from old attachments without knowing that Allah has something different ahead. Do not assume every ending guarantees that marriage is near, but do understand this. Losing the wrong connection can sometimes be the protection that teaches you how to recognize the right one when it finally comes. Your dua, and their dua may be moving toward the same future. There is something powerful about 2 people making sincere dua without knowing what Allah is arranging for either of them. You may be asking Allah for a spouse who is kind, loyal, patient, emotionally mature, and serious about faith. Somewhere else, another person may be asking Allah for exactly the same kind of peace, love, and companionship. You may never have seen each other. You may live in different places, have completely different daily lives, and have no idea that the other person even exists. Yet both of you may be turning to the same Allah, asking Him to guide you toward what is best. This does not mean that every dua is secretly about one specific person. We should never pretend to know the unseen. Only Allah knows who will marry whom, when two people will meet, and what is truly good for them. But there is a beautiful lesson here. While you are praying for the right person, you may not be the only one praying. Your future spouse, whoever they may be, could also be asking Allah for someone who carries the qualities you are slowly developing right now. Think about how differently this changes the waiting season. Instead of asking only, "Where are they?" you begin asking, "Who am I becoming while I wait?" Perhaps you are praying, "Ya Allah, give me someone patient," while Allah is teaching you patience. Perhaps you are asking for someone gentle, while Allah is teaching you how to control your anger. Perhaps you want someone loyal, while Allah is teaching you to become trustworthy. Perhaps you are asking for a peaceful marriage, while Allah is removing habits, attachments, and emotional wounds that would have disturbed that peace. At the same time, the person you may one day marry could be going through their own preparation. They may be learning how to communicate better. They may be healing from disappointment. They may be becoming more responsible. They may be learning to lower their ego, control their emotions, protect their faith, or leave behind relationships that were not good for them. You cannot see any of this. That is why waiting can feel empty when, in reality, both lives may be changing in important ways. Sometimes people become frustrated because they make dua for marriage for months or years and see no obvious result. They think nothing is happening. But dua is not only about receiving something immediately. Sometimes dua changes you before your situation changes. You begin asking Allah for one thing, and through the process of asking, Allah teaches your heart what you truly need. Maybe at first you only wanted someone attractive, exciting, or emotionally intense. Later, you begin asking for someone who brings peace, respects your boundaries, supports your faith, and stays honest when life becomes difficult. Your dua becomes wiser because you become wiser. The same may be happening to the person who will eventually enter your life. Their idea of marriage may be changing too. They may have once chased appearances, attention, or temporary feelings. But after certain disappointments, they begin asking Allah for character, stability, sincerity, and deen. Without either of you knowing it, your prayers may begin to sound more alike because your hearts are becoming more mature. That is what makes this sign powerful. It is not about imagining a stranger whispering your exact name at 3 a.m. It is about understanding that two sincere people can be asking Allah for what is good, while Allah knows how their stories will unfold. You may be asking for someone with qualities they are developing. They may be asking for someone with qualities Allah is developing in you. Neither of you controls the outcome, but both of you can use this waiting period to become better. There may even come a day when you meet someone and discover that the things they once prayed for are things Allah placed inside you through years of struggle. Maybe they prayed for someone patient, and your difficult seasons taught you patience. Maybe they prayed for someone compassionate, and your own pain taught you how to understand other people. Maybe they asked for someone who values family, honesty, and faith, and those are exactly the qualities Allah strengthened in you while you were wondering why your life was taking so long. And perhaps the opposite will also be true. You may one day look at your spouse and realize that some of the qualities you begged Allah for were being built inside that person long before you met them. Their difficult years may have shaped the very character you later appreciate. Their disappointments may have taught them loyalty. Their lonely seasons may have taught them gratitude. Their mistakes may have taught them humility. What looked like separate stories may finally make sense when the paths meet. But do not turn this idea into obsession. Do not assume that every person you like is secretly making dua for you. Do not treat dreams, coincidences, social media posts, or random feelings as proof that Allah has chosen a particular person for you. Islam teaches us to trust Allah, not to invent certainty about what He has not revealed. The beauty is not in knowing the hidden details. The beauty is in knowing that Allah hears every sincere dua and understands every heart better than we understand ourselves. So if you are making dua for marriage, make your dua with trust rather than desperation. Ask Allah for someone who is truly good for your dunya and akhirah. Ask for a marriage filled with mercy, respect, honesty, patience, and faith. Ask Allah to protect you from someone who looks right but would damage your peace. Ask Him to make you ready for the blessing you are asking for. And ask Him to prepare the other person too, wherever they may be. You do not need to know whether someone is praying for you tonight. You do not need to know their name before Allah decides it is time. Your responsibility is to keep your heart sincere, your standards healthy, and your trust in Allah strong. Because perhaps the most beautiful part of the story is this. While you are saying, Ya Allah, send me someone good, another heart may also be saying, Ya Allah, send me someone good. Neither person knows where the answer will come from, but Allah already knows every road, every prayer, every lesson, and every moment that could eventually bring two people into the same future. One day, the person praying for you may stand beside you in marriage. There may come a day when everything that felt confusing finally begins to make sense. The waiting, the heartbreak, the unanswered questions, the nights you felt lonely, and the du'as you kept making without seeing any result may all look different when Allah finally brings the right person into your life. Today, you may have no idea who that person is. You may not know their name, where they live, what they are going through, or whether they are also praying for marriage. But one day, the person who was once completely unknown to you may become the person standing beside you, sharing your home, your dreams, your responsibilities, and your future. Imagine meeting someone and slowly realizing that many of the qualities you prayed for are present in them. Not because they are perfect, but because they carry the kind of character that gives your heart peace. They respect you, they speak with honesty, they care about faith. They know how to apologize, they do not play with your emotions, they do not keep you trapped in confusion. Instead of making you question your worth, they help you feel safe enough to grow. That is very different from temporary attraction. A healthy marriage is not built only on butterflies and excitement. It is built on trust, mercy, patience, responsibility, and the willingness to choose each other even when life becomes difficult. Perhaps one day your spouse may tell you about the nights they used to wake up and make dua. Maybe they asked Allah for someone who would understand them, respect them, and walk with them toward a better life. Maybe they prayed during Tahajjud, not knowing exactly who Allah would send. Maybe they cried because marriage felt delayed. Maybe they wondered if they would ever meet someone sincere. And while they were asking those questions, you were living your own story, facing your own struggles, learning lessons that were shaping you into the person you would eventually become. Think about how powerful that moment could be. Two people sitting together after marriage, talking about the years before they met, and suddenly discovering that both were making dua during the same season of life. One may say, I kept asking Allah to send me someone patient. The other may realize that years of hardship had taught them patience. One may say, I prayed for someone who would bring peace into my life. The other may realize that Allah had been teaching them how to control their emotions and become gentle. What once felt like separate journeys may begin to look like two lives being prepared in different places. But the most important thing is not the romantic idea that someone was secretly praying specifically for you. We cannot claim knowledge of the unseen, only Allah knows what has been written. The deeper lesson is that Allah can connect two people at exactly the time He knows is best. You do not need to force that meeting. You do not need to chase every person who enters your life. You do not need to panic because others around you are getting married first. Allah is not confused about your future. Sometimes we become afraid because we think time is running out. We see friends getting engaged, We see wedding photos. We hear relatives asking questions. We start wondering, why not me? That fear can make us rush into relationships that are not healthy. It can make us lower our standards simply because we are tired of waiting. But waiting is not a reason to choose badly. Marriage is too important to enter only because you are afraid of being alone. If the right person comes into your life, you should not need to destroy your peace just to keep them. There should be honesty, effort, respect, and clear intention. There may still be challenges because every marriage has tests, but the foundation should not be manipulation, constant uncertainty, or emotional games. The person who truly wants to build a life with you should not keep you permanently guessing about whether you matter to them. That is why your preparation now matters so much. If one day someone stands beside you in marriage, they will not only receive your beauty, your smile, or your good moments, they will also experience your habits, your reactions, your weaknesses, and your character. They will see how you behave when you are tired, angry, disappointed, or stressed. They will depend on you during difficult seasons. They may raise children with you. They may trust you with fears they have never shared with anyone else. So becoming ready for marriage means more than simply wanting a spouse. It means learning how to become a safe person for someone else. Learn how to communicate without insulting. Learn how to listen without turning every disagreement into a battle. Learn how to apologize without protecting your ego. Learn how to forgive without constantly reopening old wounds. Learn how to set boundaries without becoming cruel. Learn how to love someone without making them responsible for every part of your happiness. Perhaps this is why some prayers take longer than expected. Sometimes you are not simply waiting for a person, you are growing into a version of yourself that can handle the blessing you keep asking for. And perhaps somewhere else, the person you may marry is going through the same process. Allah may be correcting their character, teaching them responsibility, strengthening their faith, or protecting them from choices that could have damaged their future. There is something comforting about realizing that you do not have to control every detail. You cannot see the entire road, but Allah can. You cannot know every heart, but Allah does. You cannot predict which meeting will change your life, but Allah already knows every person you will encounter. Maybe you will meet your future spouse through family, maybe through work, study, community, or an unexpected introduction. Maybe the meeting will feel ordinary at first. Not every important moment arrives with dramatic signs. Sometimes Allah changes your entire future through a simple conversation that you almost did not expect to happen. And that is why you should not become obsessed with searching for supernatural signals. You may miss something real while chasing something imaginary. The right relationship does not need 100 mysterious signs to become valuable. Look for character, look for sincerity, look for deen, look for respect. Look at how the person treats people when they gain nothing from it. Look at how they handle anger. Look at how they speak about their family. Look at whether their words and actions match. If one day the person who once prayed for a righteous spouse stands beside you in marriage, the real beauty will not be that they manifested you or somehow forced destiny. The beauty will be that both of you asked Allah for good, and Allah brought your lives together in a way neither of you could have planned. Maybe that person will one day look at you and quietly thank Allah because you are different from the relationships they had before. Maybe they will remember nights when they thought they would never find someone who understood them. Maybe you will look at them and remember how many times you felt forgotten. In that moment, you may understand that some delays were not empty. They were filled with lessons. You may realize why certain relationships ended. You may understand why some doors refused to open. You may see why you had to heal before meeting this person. You may finally understand why Allah did not answer your dua in the exact way or at the exact time you wanted. Sometimes an unanswered prayer is not rejection. Sometimes the answer is still being prepared. Sometimes you asked for something before you were ready to recognize it. Sometimes Allah protected you from receiving something too early because you would not have handled it wisely. And perhaps one day, after marriage, you will look back at this current season and smile. You will remember how worried you were. You will remember asking, will anyone ever truly choose me? You will remember feeling left behind, and you may realize that your story was never late. It was simply happening according to a timeline you could not see. But even then, remember that marriage itself is not the final destination. A spouse cannot replace Allah. Another human being cannot heal every wound, remove every insecurity, or fulfill every emotional need. Marriage is a blessing, but it is also a responsibility and a test. If you expect another person to become your entire source of peace, you will place a burden on them that no human being can carry. The strongest marriage is not two incomplete people desperately trying to save each other. It is two people who know they need Allah, who try to support each other, and who keep returning to Him when life becomes difficult. So if you are wondering tonight whether someone somewhere is making dua for a spouse like you, allow that thought to inspire you rather than consume you. Let it encourage you to become better. Let it remind you that your life may contain chapters you cannot imagine yet. But do not build certainty around what only Allah knows. Keep your heart open without becoming desperate. Keep your standards strong without expecting perfection. Keep making dua without trying to control the answer. And keep preparing yourself for whatever Allah knows is best. Because one day, the stranger you do not know today may become someone incredibly important in your life. The person whose name has never crossed your mind may become the person whose name enters your daily dua. The person living an entirely separate story today may one day sit beside you as your spouse. And if that day comes, perhaps you will both realize something beautiful. Before you ever met each other, Allah already knew every prayer, every tear, every lesson, every closed door, and every step that would eventually bring your paths together. So do not lose hope just because you cannot see what is ahead. The unseen belongs to Allah. Your job is not to know every detail of your future. Your job is to trust Him, improve yourself, make sincere dua, and walk forward with patience. Because the person you are praying to meet may also be praying for someone like you. And one day, by Allah's permission, two separate duas may become one shared life. Maybe tonight you still do not know who your future spouse is. Maybe you have no sign, no name, and no idea when marriage will happen. But you do know this: Allah hears every sincere dua, sees every lonely night, and knows every heart that is still waiting. So do not let waiting make you desperate, and do not let loneliness make you choose the wrong person. Keep becoming someone worthy of the love you keep praying for. Keep asking Allah for what is good, not simply for what is quick. And if somewhere another heart is making dua for a spouse like you, trust that Allah knows exactly when two stories should meet. Until then, protect your heart, strengthen your faith, and keep walking with sabr. If this reminder touched you, write, Ya Allah, grant me a righteous spouse in the comments. May Allah give you a marriage filled with peace, mercy, loyalty, and barakah, and bring it to you at the time that is truly best. Ameen.